All right, so let's explore some of the features we have here in our new machine learning workspace. Here in the home, there's just obviously, some advertisements for some different directions we might go into, but each of these are also found over here on the left. So first of all, I'm going to click on this model catalog, and these are what we call pre-trained models that could be very useful. You can see Meta, Facebook's created a lot of these. There's generative AI models out now. A lot of useful ones, but we're going to learn to create our own models. But I just want you to be aware that you can also use their catalog, what used to be the old AI library that still exists. But anyway, you have access to these right here. Over here, authoring along the left, we have 4 different ways to author machine learning pipelines. So notebooks is typically my preferred way. This is where we can go create our own Jupyter notebooks and Python code or R to create and write pipelines from code. AutoML is where we can upload or connect it to a data set and basically point to a label and tell it, okay, this is the column of data we want to predict, and it will automatically try all possible algorithms and all possible combinations of other columns or features that it thinks might best predict that label, and it'll let you pick the best one. Designer is one that I'll focus on probably in this book, where we can create visual diagrams out of pills, which are code, kind of like code snippets, but it's a no-code solution where you don't need, kind of like AutoML is as well, a no-code solution where you don't need to write any code at all. Prompt flow, I'm not going to go into detail on this right now. Anyway, to do any of these 4 types of authoring, to perform any of them, we need to have a compute instance, or basically a virtual machine that will run the code for us. So we're going to start there. Let's create a new compute instance. And there's a few different types, but we're just going to create the most basic. And it says, all right, let's, oh, this is cool. Auto shutdown features now available. Good. They had these before, but when I started using this a couple of years ago, you had to set up your own auto shutdown. This is important because it costs you money and costs you your $100 credits to use compute instances. You can see here, that's where the cost is. And you want to auto shut down so you don't waste credits, and you don't want to leave that virtual computer up and running when you're not using it. So let's make sure that we set that up. So for starters, you can see we've got a few types. I'm actually going to create I think the fastest one I can. I'll leave this one that's currently selected. If yours isn't already selected, go ahead and pick this one, because we're just going to make sure to shut it down as much as possible. During most of my examples, I'm going to be dealing with very traditional data. GPU is better with image and video data, but we're going to stick with a CPU. And I think that's all I want. You can change the name if you want to. I'll call this student ML instance, or whatever you feel like. I guess it doesn't really matter. Review and create. Scheduling. I want to go back here and go through some of these options rather than just skip straight to the end. So I'll come back here. I'm just going to hit next one at a time. So auto shutdown. So if you haven't done anything for 60 minutes, go ahead and shut it down. That's probably a good idea. Notice that we're paying 35 cents per hour. So that's not too bad. So this means that we won't waste more than 35 cents if we're not using something. Yeah, that's fine with me. Add schedules. This allows us to tell it here to automatically shut down at a certain time each day. If it just automatically shuts down after 60 minutes, I'm not going to worry about that. In a prior video, I used to use these, but I don't think that's necessary anymore. I just want it to auto shut down after 60 minutes. All right, that looks good to me. Security, I think for now I'm not going to worry about this because I might come back later when I deploy and enable some, but for now I'm not going to worry about security. And we're not going to use any application. So eventually we're going to want to integrate what we create with applications. But since we're using this just for a class right now, we're going to keep this simple and not worry about that. Tags, nope. We're just going to review and create. So we did accept all the defaults. I just want to make sure I had covered and fully considered all of my scheduling so that we don't waste money here. All right, so let's create that. Student ML instance, Perfect. We'll give that a minute. All right, it's finished creating and it went ahead and automatically started it. So I want to separate a few things. First, conceptually. First of all, having a compute instance is separate from whether or not the compute instance is actually running, whether it's started versus stopped. So now that it's been created, it won't cost us any money except for the time that it's up and running and being used. And it takes time to spin it up and get it running too. So you might notice it may have taken you a minute or two for yours to run if it's like mine. Anyway, we're going to stop this now, and in the next video we'll learn how to use this new compute instance with some of our authoring options.